Hello, it's time for another video, and this is a TBR video, as you can tell from the title. So I wasn't going to do a readathon or a specific TBR in August. I was going to have a break, and then my friend Nikki over at Books and Lemon Squash decided she's going to host a readathon in August. And I mean, it would be rude not to participate. So, I mean, it didn't take much convincing. I literally saw her post about it and was like, okay, I'm doing this readathon. So I'm gonna go through the prompts and what books I'm picking for the prompts. Two of them I don't actually have physical copies of because I have put holds on the audiobooks at my library because I'm trying to be good and not buy an entire series, although one of them is the first book. Anyway, we'll get into that. So this is for the UKYA readathon, and although it is UK, Nikki has made it very clear that it's for UK and Ireland, because obviously Ireland is always overlooked. So yeah, I don't think I actually have any Irish authors in my TBR though, but the option was there. So on to the prompts. The first book is to read a debut. So I had an idea for this, but then I realised the book I originally was going to do for this I could use for the second prompt. So I changed, and I realised I have actually had the hold on this audiobook for about 2 months, and it did come up that I could have it about 3 weeks ago, but I was already listening to an audiobook, and where I'm at home all the time, I'm not really listening to many audiobooks, so I delayed the delivery, and now it's coming in August, which is perfect because it is And the Stars Were Burning Brightly by Danielle Joando. I hope I've said that right. I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I don't know much about it, but I do remember when I did read the synopsis for it months ago, it sounded really good, so I added it to my Goodreads, and a few months after that requested it from my library. So the second prompt is to reread a favourite. Now in Nikki's post she did say that obviously not everyone likes to reread favourites. I do, however I'm currently only rereading 2 book series, and they are both by American authors. So I have used the loophole that Nikki specified, which is you can just read a book by a favourite author. So I have chosen Soulmates by Holly Bourne. Holly Bourne is without a doubt one of my favourite authors ever. She is incredible, and I love all of the books of hers I've read. I have not read this yet. This is her debut novel, hence why I could have used it for the first prompt. But I'm really excited to finally get round to reading this because I've had this for ages, and I actually managed to get this copy from one of my local charity shops, which is even better because it's not in terrible condition. So yeah. The third prompt is a book with a monarchy. Now I'm really pleased I could pick this because it is the second in a series that I read the first book 2 years ago. But it is Traitor to the Throne by Alwyn Hamilton. I absolutely loved Rebel of the Sands. It was one of my favourite books that year, and I don't actually know why I didn't get round to reading this sooner. It just kept getting pushed back and back and back, and now it's 2 years later and I'm finally going to read the second book. So I'm really excited to read this. I'm not going to tell you much about it because obviously it is a sequel, and you will find a few of these on this TBR are sequels, and I'm really proud of that because who am I? I don't read sequels. I read the first book and then wait like 10 years to read the second. That's an exaggeration. A little bit of an exaggeration. The fourth prompt is to read a book by an author of colour. Now, this is the other audiobook I have requested, and it is also a sequel. This is Knife's Edge by Mallory Blackman. I read Noughts and Crosses this month. This month? Or last month? No, this month. I read Noughts and Crosses either this month or last month, and holy crap. It was amazing, and literally the moment I finished book 1, I requested the second one from my library because it was so good, and I'm really excited for the second one. And obviously Mallory Blackman is a black author, so this works for this prompt. The next prompt is a LGBTQ+ read, and again, it is a sequel. It is Read with Pride by Lucy Powery. This is the sequel to Paper and Heart Society, which I read last year when it came out and absolutely adored. I am so excited for this. I pre-ordered this back in like God knows when, and it was released at the end of May, and where I've been doing readathons, I just keep forgetting to add it to TBRs, so it's added to a TBR finally. There's a running theme with the rest of these prompts. All the books are sequels. I'm doing well on this. So the next prompt is to read a book with a red, white or blue cover, and I have chosen The Sleeping Prince by Melinda Salisbury. I read The Sin Eater's Daughter last year before Yalk, and I absolutely loved it. And like with Read with Pride, I've just kept forgetting to add this to TBRs, so it hasn't got read, but I'm finally going to read it. And Melinda Salisbury is another one of my favourite authors. The next one is A Trip to the Seaside. Now this can be any book that takes place near a body of water, whether it be a lake, a river, an ocean, and I'm reaching on this one, like I'm really reaching. So this is The Witch's Tears by Catherine and Elizabeth Corr. Now, I distinctly remember in the first book, I read it earlier this year, and I distinctly remember there is a lake in the first book, and it is a prominent part of the story. And I'm hoping this one also has that lake, but we'll see. I am going to say that it is, but I'm using it for this prompt. Now we have the 8th and penultimate prompt. So this is Pick and Mix. You gotta love Pick and Mix. I love Pick and Mix. I'm so glad she did a prompt called Pick and Mix, because now I fancy Pick and Mix. The Pick and Mix prompt is to read a book outside of your favourite genre. Now, I was originally going to pick a contemporary for this because contemporary isn't my favourite. However, I have noticed recently I have been reading and loving a lot more contemporary, so I feel like I can't really use a contemporary for this prompt. So instead, I've gone for thriller, because as much as I do love thrillers, it is not my favourite genre. So for this prompt, I have picked Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder last year, and oh, it was so good. I was like blown away by how good this book was, and at that point I had only recently started reading thrillers, so for one to blow me away the way that one did was just like amazing. So I'm really excited to see what the sequel brings. Oh, that's cool. I've just noticed there's like pages with like fingerprints and stuff. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see what Pip gets up to in this one. And then the final prompt, I'm really excited for the book I've picked for this. Like, you don't understand how excited I am for the book I've picked for this. The final prompt is Afternoon Tea, because as a British person, you've got to love some afternoon tea. So this is a book that starts with T, and we are allowed to use the as a word starting with T if it's the first word, because I know some people when they host readathons they say, oh, the doesn't count, and it's like, no, don't do this. But I'm really glad in this case the counts, because I'm going to read The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. I'm so excited to read this, and it's also the only hardback on this TBR, which is weird. I usually have more hardbacks than this, and I've pre-ordered The Mask Falling because I am so excited. I have absolutely adored the first 2 books, and I'm really excited to read the 3rd book. And also, once I've read this, it means that I can read the novella for The Dawn Chorus, which I definitely bought the ebook for. But I just can't read it yet because there will be massive spoilers for this. So yeah, gonna read this, then I can read that. So that was my TBR for the UKYA Readathon, and I'm really looking forward to this. Like, really looking forward to this. As much as I didn't want to do a readathon in August, I'm actually really glad that Nikki decided to do this, because I really enjoy doing readathons. It gives me that challenge to get books read, and I will pick up stuff like sequels that I wouldn't have necessarily picked up if I just had free reign of my TBR. So I'm really happy with my choices. I'm very excited. So that was my TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will also leave the link to Nikki's YouTube channel and Twitter in the description below, and her blog in the description below, and I will see you next time. Bye.